Hey everyone, welcome back to our Third Space Reconnect series, and today is the final video in our series. It's been such an awesome 2 weeks being able to share some of our favorite practices with everyone. In today's video, we are going to look at reconnecting with our mornings, and more specifically on how to be able to build our own morning routine. Now, you might have heard a video or read an article about morning routines, as a lot of people give it credit for finding success in other parts of their lives. Now, why would we want to do this morning routine? This morning routine allows us to set the tone for our day and give us a little bit of structure right off the bat. It also allows us to have these small wins as soon as we wake up. But just like anything, it's kind of a personal thing. So let's take a look at some of these elements, and you can build this routine to kind of suit your life and your mornings. Now, what is a morning routine? A morning routine is 4 or 5 elements, kind of like done back to back as soon as you wake up. So again, it kind of gives you that structure and gives you some meaningful wins as soon as you get out of bed. But the really cool thing is that most of these elements and practices are everything that we just covered in the Reconnect series over the past couple weeks. So you already have a head start on what these things look like. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we might structure a morning, or sometimes what we call them around here, we call them miracle mornings, because it's just such a good way to start your day. Now, the first thing we actually didn't cover, but it's super awesome and it's super practical, and that is to get up and make your bed. As soon as you get out of bed, just go ahead and make it. So again, it just gives you that little kickstart of going into motion and creating some action right off the bat. And it's super practical too. It'll make your mom super proud of you that you've made your bed, and if you tell her, yep, I make my bed every day. It's also really nice to come back home at the end of a long day and just know that you can crawl into a bed that's already been made. So get up, make that bed. The next part is setting that mindset, so just getting in the right frame of mind. And we took a look at that on the very first video that we did with Katie on mindfulness. So we have a couple good resources there, some meditations with Katie and Brandon, as well as a breathing segment and video with Dan Skinner. So there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can kind of just tap in and just focus inside first on that mindset. That being said, once your mindset and that headspace is there, it's really nice to go right into that journaling aspect and just looking at some things that you're grateful for. So just that practice again of gratitude. So grab that journal, write down 3 things that you're grateful for, something that might make today really great so you have a focus for the day, and just get that down onto pen and paper. After that, it's really good to start to move the body. We've been asleep laying there for hopefully at least 8 hours, so we can start to warm up and again tune up that body. So that might look like something like a 10-15 minute movement practice. If you want to do the 20-minute movement practice that I posted, you can totally do that. If you're short on time, just click that button and speed it up a little bit, and you get twice the amount of work done in half the time. It also might look like just going for a walk, a nice early morning walk when the city's nice and quiet, just something to get your body moving, whatever works best for you. Once you've done that, and you might have even got a little sweaty, hopefully you have this next part already in as part of your routine, and that's just having a shower. So once you hop into that shower, you can also use it as a little training, a little practice time. If you're into the cold water, that cold water immersion, it's a great place to start. If you need any tips, again, go ahead and take a look at Dan Skinner's video. Maybe try to start nice and easy. Don't crank that cold water tap all the way on. Maybe give yourself 10-15 seconds. And again, just like anything, it's a practice, it's a skill to work on. It also sets us up in being able to kind of change our state a little bit. If we're kind of groggy, a little douse of cold water always energizes you and wakes you up. So once you've hopped out of that shower, nice and refreshed, hopefully you have turned that kettle on so you can treat yourself to that nice warm cup of coffee in the day. If you haven't taken a look, check out Nikki and her instructions on how to do a pour over. It's also a nice little, again, mindfulness exercise. There's a process to it. It's just something like a nice little morning ritual to be able to do. It's definitely something I do religiously every morning. Once I do that, I also get my breakfast started. So whatever that is for you, something nice and healthy and nutritious, being able to just get that nice meal in to start your day. And that's about it. That's kind of how I start my mornings. There's also other things we can add on to that. So as a bonus, if you have some time, we can also do a little bit of self-development, some learning. So if that looks like some reading, if you're reading, again, make sure it's something that you're interested in, something personal. So you're not opening up your desktop and going into emails, that doesn't count, but maybe just a good book that someone recommended that you read 5 to 10 pages of every morning with your breakfast. Or maybe it's listening to that new podcast that someone recommended. So if you have that time, just being, again, using it for yourself to be able to kind of develop, spend your own time on the things that you want to focus on in the mornings. So that being said, we're talking about that time aspect too. And one thing we didn't mention is one really good thing to do is set your alarm 15 or 20 minutes earlier. So at first, it might not be awesome because nobody wants to do that at first, but once it becomes part of your routine and you're able to, again, spend that time and have that time where you can relax and not be rushed before you have to meet all those other outside obligations, it becomes just something that you actually start to look forward and cherish in the mornings. So you'll notice that there's tons of elements that you can include into that morning routine. Like anything, we always recommend adding things little bit by little bit. So maybe take one of those practices if it's new to you and see if you can add it into your routine this week. See if it's something that you think you can keep doing consistently, and maybe that becomes part of it. Your morning routine can also change over time, and that's totally cool too. Life changes, so we have to make these things work best for us where we are now. So that's it. Go ahead and let us know if you have a morning routine yourself. If there's something new that you heard that you want to add to your morning routine, give it a shot and then let us know how that goes. Thank you so much for joining us over the last couple weeks again for our Reconnect series. We love to hear back from you. Remember that these videos are always here, so if you ever need something, some little inspiration to be able to reconnect to your practice, go ahead and check them out. Thanks a lot.